You ever feel like the universe just holds its breath, waiting for you to fail? Like the whole system is designed to catch you if you slip, but never to help you stand? That was my reality, and my 10-year-old daughter, Aisha, or Sky as everyone called her, well, she was living it too, except she was fighting back with a voice that could shake mountains. The day it all started, it was just brutally unfair. Sky had saved $85, mostly quarters and crumpled ones, from months of running a lemonade stand outside the Cypress Heights complex, our home, the place the city calls Section 8. She was using that money, every single cent, to enter the Zenith City Starlight Showcase. The grand prize? $55,000. That was the magic number taped to our refrigerator, right next to the red final notice stamp on her mother's surgery bill. Serena, my ex, her tumor was growing, demanding payment. Stage 3 cancer. The window for surgery was closing, and the insurance company, of course, had slammed the door in our faces. So there was Sky, 10 years old, standing in the bright, antiseptic lobby of the community center, holding her damp application, only to meet the eyes of Cassandra Thorne. Cassandra, you know the type, sharp blonde bob, designer suit, probably smells like money and resentment. She didn't even touch Sky's paper, just used the tip of an engraved pen to flick it off the counter and into a puddle near the entrance. "I'm sorry, darling," Cassandra said, her voice dripping in that fake, saccharine sweetness that's worse than outright yelling. "We really can't have another child from the Heights embarrassing this competition. This is for real performers, from families who actually invest in training, not welfare cases." And then she sprayed a cloud of hand sanitizer between them, like Sky carried a communicable disease, watching as the ink on Sky's carefully printed name dissolved into a muddy blur. White mothers nearby pulled their pristine daughters a little closer, and the cameras, always the cameras, rose up, documenting the humiliation. Sky just stood there, her worn sneakers soaking, picking up the ruined paper, the shame tightening her throat. That moment, that public, cruel dismissal, it hardened something inside her, something that tasted like every single time the world had told her she wasn't worthy. What Sky didn't know, what none of us knew yet, was that the man who had abandoned her mother and me 11 years ago, the biological father who had chosen a music career over his family, was staring from across the room. His name was Damon Cross, or Dax as the industry called him now. He was a big-shot A&R executive, flown in to be a celebrity guest judge. He'd built an empire, traveling the world finding talent, always chasing the next big hit. He'd walked away from Serena when she was 20 and pregnant, looked her dead in the eye, and said, "A kid will destroy everything I've worked for. I can't do this." He promised money, of course. He never sent a dime. Serena never told Sky his name. She just looked at Sky's beautiful, defiant face when she sang, and whispered, "You got that gift from somewhere special, baby." Damon was just stepping into the lobby, sipping his expensive coffee, when he saw Cassandra's disgusting little performance. And then he saw the little girl standing there, this 10-year-old in an $8 thrift store dress, clutching a soggy application, and he froze. Her jawline, the set of her shoulders, and those eyes. They were Serena's eyes, fierce and heartbreaking, staring out from a face that was undeniably, devastatingly his. He hadn't stopped fidgeting since he sat down at the judge's table. His meticulously constructed life of platinum plaques and private jets had started to crack open, leaking 11 years of guilt and denial. The preliminary night finally arrived. Sky was contestant number 32. She sat backstage alone, no vocal coach, no stage mom, just breathing slowly, trying to calm the earthquake inside her chest. She looked at her palm where she'd written the words in fading marker, "For Mama." Madison Thorne, Cassandra's 13-year-old daughter, performed first. Flawless, technically perfect, piano accompaniment, choreographed hand movements, the result of $100,000 of lessons. It was safe, polished, and utterly, profoundly empty. Then the coordinator called her name. The walk to center stage felt like a mile. Sky stood beneath the blinding light, so tiny next to the towering microphone stand. Cassandra leaned into the mic, her voice mocking. No accompanist. How? Brave. Or perhaps just unprepared. This is a professional competition, darling, not show and tell. Sky didn't look at Cassandra. She looked out into the crowd, her worn sneakers squeaking on the stage floor, and saw her mama, Serena, in the front row, wrapped in a thin scarf, looking so frail but with eyes that were fire and belief. "My name is Aisha Jones. I'm 10 years old," Sky's voice came out small, then she swallowed and strengthened. I'm singing Rise Up by Andra Day. A cappella. Damon gripped the edge of the judge's table. He knew that song. It was about rising despite being broken. And then Sky sang. The first note hit the auditorium like a physical thing, pure, raw, and aching, like a sound that had been waiting 1,000 years to be released. No backing track, no auto-tune, just her voice, and it was ancient. You're broken down and tired of living life on a merry-go-round. The auditorium went silent. Damon didn't blink, didn't breathe. He just stared at his child, his perfect, beautiful child, pouring survival into every sound. When she hit the bridge, her voice cracked, but it wasn't a mistake. It was real emotion, the pain of watching her mother waste away, breaking through. And I'll rise up. I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up. I'll rise unafraid. Damon's own face broke. Tears fell, unchecked, onto the blank scoring card in front of him. He'd spent 20 years in this industry, heard every platinum voice, but this was divine. This was his soul singing back to him. The final note held for 12 seconds, pure, sustained, heartbreaking power. When she released it, 5 full seconds of stunned silence, and then the place erupted. A standing ovation that shook the walls. Damon was on his feet, applauding so hard his palms hurt, his face a mask of sorrow and pride. The scoring was chaotic. Cassandra, tight-lipped, threw out a cruel 7.0, adequate for a child. The crowd booed her, actually booed her. Mr. Harrison, the local music teacher, shouted, "That was a perfect 10. That child is a miracle." Damon picked up the mic, his voice thick with tears. "I don't care about protocol. I'm giving this an 11. That performance was the most honest thing I have heard in my career. That little girl has a gift from God. 10.0. Sky won the preliminary, and the video hit the internet before she even left the building. By morning, it had 4 million views. The hashtag Let Sky Sing was trending, and every comment was about the little powerhouse from the Heights who made the celebrity judge cry. But fame doesn't buy time against cancer. Serena's GoFundMe climbed to $18,000, but the $55,000 deadline was still looming. 7 days until the final. And Cassandra Thorne was not one to lose gracefully. She was already planning her revenge. Cassandra Thorne wasn't crying over a little girl's talent. She was plotting over intellectual property law. She spent Saturday morning diving deep into Sky's old SoundCloud account, River Kid. 53 cover songs posted between the ages of 7 and 10. Not a single licensing agreement in sight. She cornered Brian, the competition coordinator, in his office. "She's been posting copyrighted covers for 3 years, Cassandra hissed, sliding her phone across his desk. No licenses. Section 7.3 of the competition guidelines. Contestants must demonstrate ethical conduct and legal compliance. We file a complaint, she's disqualified. Madison wins by default." Brian was sweating. "Cassandra, she's 10. They're practice videos." "Rules are rules." Cassandra's voice went glacial. "We invested tens of thousands into Madison's training. And some child from Section 8 shows up with no training and steals it with one emotional performance? No. File the complaint. Do you want to remain coordinator next year?" Brian sighed, his conscience losing to his cowardice. He opened his laptop to draft the ethics violation, noting for the record, "This is cruel." They didn't know Damon was in the hallway, recording their whole, sickening conversation. The guilt he'd carried for 11 years, the knowledge of his daughter's life hanging in the balance, and now this blatant, cruel targeting, it broke the dam. He was Damon Cross, A&R executive, but he was also Damon Cross, UCLA Law School, California Bar. Thursday morning, the day of the finals, Serena's phone buzzed with the urgent ethics violation complaint. Deadline, 2 p.m. Disqualification over unlicensed covers posted from ages 7 to 10. Serena's whole body shook. They were using her daughter's practice as a weapon. She called the competition office, but Brian just repeated the policy. Documentation required by 2 p.m., Ms. Jones. "I'm sorry." Serena looked at Sky, whose small face was swollen from crying. 4 hours to provide legal proof of non-existent licenses. It was impossible. They sat in defeat in the cramped community center office, Serena stroking Sky's hair, whispering apologies for a failure that wasn't hers. Then, at 1:35 p.m., 25 minutes until the deadline. The door burst open. Damon walked in. He looked like a storm, red-eyed, wrinkled suit, radiating a dangerous, controlled fury. Cassandra stood by Brian's desk, looking smug. "Excuse me, Mr. Cross. This is an internal matter. You're a guest judge. You don't have authority here." "I'm halting this disqualification," Damon said, his voice cold and deadly. "Effective immediately. I'm also a lawyer." He pulled up the folder on his phone. "Entertainment law, UCLA, California bar," he stated, cutting off Cassandra before she could speak. "Let me educate you on what you're attempting. Non-commercial cover songs posted by minors for practice purposes fall under fair use provisions. 17 U.S.C. Section 107. Applying adult contract law standards to a child aged 7 to 10 is legally indefensible, ethically reprehensible." He didn't look at Cassandra. He looked straight at Brian. Selective enforcement? That's discriminatory practice. Applying adult standards to specifically target a black contestant from a low-income community? That's grounds for a federal discrimination lawsuit. I will personally fund it. I have 5 attorneys on retainer and unlimited resources. He played the recording on his phone. Cassandra's voice filled the office. "Rules are rules. Madison has trained for 8 years. File the complaint." Cassandra's face went white, her composure dissolving into panic. "You recorded that. That's illegal." "California is a 2-party consent state," Damon returned flatly. "But there's an exception for documenting illegal activity. Discrimination is illegal. Congratulations, you documented yourself." He looked back at Brian, his eyes ice. "Withdraw the complaint now. Or I contact every sponsor, every news outlet, and the Arts Council funding is gone by Monday. This community center will be liable for millions in damages." The silence was suffocating. Brian frantically typed, printed the withdrawal, and handed the paper to Serena with shaking hands. "I'm sorry, Ms. Jones. Truly sorry." Damon turned to Cassandra. "If you attempt any further interference with this contestant, I will end you professionally, personally, legally. Are we clear?" Cassandra grabbed her purse and fled. Damon watched her go, then slowly turned to Serena and Sky. Serena stared at him, recognition finally dawning, quickly turning into rage. "What the hell are you doing here? You have no right, Damon. Not after." Sky pushed through the crowd toward them, confused. "Mama, what's going on? Who is this?" The question hung in the air, heavy with 11 years of absence. Damon knelt down to his daughter's eye level, his carefully constructed composure finally shattering. "My name is Damon Cross," he said softly, tears falling freely. "And I'm your father. 11 years ago, I ran. I chose my career. I abandoned you both. And I have hated myself every single day since." Sky backed away, shaking her head, pain in her small face. "You're lying. My father isn't." "Your mama was protecting you from the truth," Damon broke in, tears streaming. "That I was a coward. That I left you with nothing." "Why?" Sky whispered, her voice cracking. "Why would you leave?" "Because I was selfish and scared," he confessed. "But I can't stay silent anymore. When Cassandra tried to disqualify you, I had to protect you. It's 11 years too late, but I had to do something." "You don't get to be a hero," Sky choked out, her voice hard with unforgiveness. "You don't get to swoop in. My mama saved me. She's the one who worked herself sick for me. You were nothing. You are nothing." "You're right," Damon nodded, accepting the condemnation. He pulled out his phone, showing the wire transfer. $55,000 to Serena Jones. Medical payment status. Paid in full. "I called the hospital 2 hours ago. Your mother's surgery is scheduled for tomorrow morning." Serena gasped, clutching her mouth. "I can't give you back 11 years, Damon told Sky, his voice ragged. "But I can give you your mother's life. The prize money is for your future, for college, for music, for whatever you want." The oversized check fell from Sky's hands as she collapsed, sobbing, into Serena's arms. Damon stayed kneeling, watching his daughter fall apart, knowing he'd caused this pain, but having done the only thing left to do. "I'm not asking for forgiveness," he said quietly. "I just needed you to know. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." "I don't forgive you," Sky looked up through her tears. "That's fair," Damon said, backing away slowly. "But thank you for helping Mama." That night, the finals auditorium was electric, packed with local supporters, media, and the protective energy of a whole community. Sky, walking onto the stage for the final number, Stand Up, walked taller than ever before. She had nothing left to lose. Her performance was a hurricane, 12 seconds of sustained, soul-shattering power. Damon sat in the back, tears streaming, but this time they were tears of pride. Sky won with a perfect 10.0 average. 6 months later, Serena was cancer-free. Sky was on a regional tour, performing at children's hospitals for free. Damon and Sky met monthly, supervised by Serena. Sky still called him Mr. Cross. "I'm not ready to call you Dad," she told him once. "I understand," he replied. "Maybe someday, maybe never. I'll be here either way." It was painful progress, but progress nonetheless. Now here's the question I want you to answer. Was Damon's last-minute intervention true redemption, or was it just him paying for his guilt? Did his money erase the 11 years of absence? And if you were Sky, the child he abandoned, could you ever truly forgive him and call him Dad? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And hey, rewatch the preliminary performance clip. Watch Damon's face the moment Sky hits the first note. There's a micro-expression that tells you everything. You don't want to miss it. Like and subscribe for more stories about justice, family, and the heavy price of second chances.